Welcome back to another Golfing Gap YouTube video, and today we have Cooper Green. Cooper,
good to see you.
It's good to have you. You're our first official guest.
All right.
On the channel. We also have another guest for today, Albert Jennings. He is the coach. So long story short, Cooper here, brother-in-law, close friend, he's been not doing so well on his chipping. And you know, we've been doing this Gap tour. It's a different thing. It's a tour with our friends, and he just hasn't played up to his standard, I would say.
Yeah.
So last week I gave him a lesson, and to be honest, it didn't really go super well. So I've had a coach for the last 10 years, Albert Jennings, and I called him up, and he said he'd happy to give him a lesson. And so now here we are at his course, Brookwood Golf Course here in Fort Wayne. And yeah, we're gonna see what Albert can do with him. Albert's a very good guy, and you'll enjoy his company. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. So here's our other special guest, Albert Jennings. Thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you. Albert here, he's been my golf coach for over 10 years now,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, most of your life.
It's been a while. He's seen a lot of good swings, a lot of bad swings from me. But I trust this man with my life, and so I also trust him with Cooper's life. And so yeah, he's gonna give him a lesson today. And before we start, would you want to give a brief description of kind of what you do here at Brookwood and for your business?
Yeah, I've taught for like 10, 11 years now, started in college, and have worked with from 2 years old up to about 95 or so. They hit it about the same distance. But, you know, so seeing all kinds of things, and, you know, players that are shooting in the 70s versus the 90s sometimes can have some of the same struggles. So, yeah, I'm all about being creative, you know, using techniques from Titleist and TPI and some of the guys that I like to study to, you know, just help players get over whatever is going on. Yeah. So I'm excited to help Coop out today.
Yeah, should be a good time. Let's go.
So like shot, like what club do you have there?
60-degree wedge.
Okay. Is that where you're chipping with like most of the time?
Yeah.
Okay. So shot like this, confidence like 1 to 10 right now. Where you at?
Right now, like a 1.
Like a 1.
Yeah.
Okay. And your fear of what would happen would be what?
The hosel.
I'm gonna have you hit these 3. We're gonna hit 3 to start.
Okay.
And you go just as natural as you can with as little thought as you can, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
These 3 here, I want you to try to land, so like if this shot was the same except you had to land it all the way at the hole, would that be the club?
Yeah, this is really the only club I use for chipping.
Okay, perfect. So I want you to try to land these. Grant, he's gonna try to land them at the hole. What sports did you play the most growing up?
I was a runner, so not a lot of coordination required.
So where would you land this one?
I would probably want to land it like just in front of it, like just barely on the green in front of the fringe.
All right, can I see that? Besides the hosel is short, probably the secondary miss?
Yeah, even with the full swing, like my 2 misses are either a hosel or a big chunk.
Okay. So when you hit 3 like that all land short, what would be your adjustment to that? Or what would you think to do on the next one?
I feel like trying to just get more weight forward.
More weight forward.
So that the club kind of comes, my low point is like a little further forward.
Okay, okay. Show me that for a couple here. good news is, at least today, we're pretty far away from the hosel.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it shows up, and when it does, we'll address that. And if it doesn't, we'll talk about some of the reasons that it could show up. But definitely it's one of those things that when it starts to happen and then you're thinking about it, it just becomes more likely.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that we could just adjust a little bit. So one, you're really narrow. We want to be pretty narrow with these shots, but sometimes if we get too much this way, it discourages us from moving. And so just that little bit bigger base, now I can put more mass over here. And I think that's going to be helpful for you when you're wanting to add speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're just going to go slightly wider. Easy trick that I like is the width of the head. Okay. The second thing, a part of that, because you have kind of a, what I'd say, secondary, and then your kind of like tertiary miss would be short is secondary when you go here. And then when you try to get it a little bit further, sometimes it'll go a little bit left. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
So when you're going back and through, you're tilting more than turning. So like the upper body can bend forward and backward, can tilt, and it can rotate. If we use too much tilt, then that 60 degrees becomes, quite a bit more, versus let's say I'm using more bending and turning, trying to be in a little bit of a forward bend and turn as I go through. That's going to send that ball out just a little bit lower.
Okay.
We're going to start with a little wider, and we're going to try to have that chest go towards the target just a little bit more on the way through. Okay. It's very possible that might introduce more of the middle or even the inside, but let's just see first. Okay. Yep, good. Club head width. Good, and then you can scoot back a tiny bit. So with that width, we're just gonna look at this level. So sink down in it too. Good. So pause for me there, because I like what you did on those few. So to me, it looks like the backswing's a little shorter than the follow through. And the acceleration is coming kind of like right in there. Is that like an intentional thing? Are you trying to not decelerate? Is that something you've been, told before or anything
I've been told that before. I don't know if it's like intentional or if it's just kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah. So deceleration gets a little bit of a bad rap. Like, we do have to decelerate eventually for the club to come to a stop. And what you'll see from pros is that more of the speed is happening kind of in this area, and then they'll be slowing down a little sooner here. What that's going to do for us, it's going to help with the strike for sure, being able to be just like a little bit steeper, because right now, since you're going from short to long, it kind of has this like natural upward attack angle, which we don't want all the time, and we definitely don't want too much of. So I want to see a couple here where you take a bigger backswing and a shorter follow through. And again, I'm going to be open to some misses happening when you try this, but I think it's going to get us closer to where we want to be. Could you hear the difference in that strike? It was a little bit more clicky because we didn't interact with as much grass right there. So that was super. Let's do that same thing again. Nice. Also able to produce a little bit more spin when we do that. Nice. And notice how you still got some grass there, but it wasn't the one that kind of just plopped in front of us. Like it still had a little bit of drive to it. Does that make sense? Nice. Good. So the acceleration is still just a little bit too much. This is where we get in that kind of acceleration, deceleration, area. So however you want to think of it is fine, but see if you can slow down that acceleration through the ball. It's still acceleration, it's just not as much. Okay. That probably felt a little slower. If you're normally 10 out of 10 and that was 8 out of 10, bring it down to like 4 and see what happens. Nice, there you go. Give it to him. All right, so let's go get on some fairway to just kind of give it a little bit different dynamic and make sure we can kind of get to the same place.
Feel great. That's the best I've hit a wedge shot in a very long time.
This is the spot where kind of more of your natural movement with the wrist or your natural preference there is okay. We're still going to use the wrist just a little bit more, but here's where we're going to have to do a really good job of rotating and staying in our forward bend versus having the more tilting movement. Make a couple practice swings for me here. So we want to make sure we don't restrict that head too much, because the more that the head stays here, the more it limits the rotation of the chest. Okay. So as you go through, really feel like it's like an underhand toss. You're going to wind up kind of facing the target. There you go. Good. Do that again for me. Good. A little bit bigger backswing and more relaxed on the way through. Good. Good. Okay, so set up to this one, but don't pull the trigger yet, and tell me when you feel good.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gabe, if you want to go down the line for this. So where your feet are and where the club face is more kind of at the shadow over there.
Okay.
Like almost like at that other flag.
Gotcha.
Okay? And so then as you come through, you've got to kind of release it and come across it this way to get it back online.
Gotcha.
Which is going to make us kind of bottom out a little bit too soon. So it's going to look crazy to you, but we're going to get a little bit more open. So go ahead and kind of mirror. Yeah, there you go. Good. So when you look up at that target, does that feel like you're pretty far left? Too bad.
Yeah, it kind of feels like I'm aiming at like that where the other shadow is on the mound. It feels like I'm aiming at that.
Okay, so that's normal since you've been aiming a little bit more right and kind of doing this move to get it back online.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna feel here, go ahead and set up for me. So, and this will feel a lot different. So again, we're okay with a couple misses to start. Usually you're coming in like this and then trying to kick the club out to get it back online. We want to be a little bit more up and kind of coming in here.
Okay.
And then following through kind of right at the target. I'm gonna give you that rehearsal feeling again. So we're just gonna up and out. That's fine. We're here. Because you're so locked out here that like none of these like kind of component parts are able to like move naturally.
Yeah.
When we get those loosened up and keep it more on this plane, you're able to hit better shots. That was really good for first try. Yeah, there you go. Do that again for me. Good. So see that? That's the old release to get it back online. You can just feel this.
Okay.
Right? So on a full swing, we're coming through and releasing it like that.
Yeah.
The pitching motion just kind of stays there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and the chest continuing to go through makes that easy to hold. When the chest would stop and would kind of go into the tilt, then the hands would naturally flip over. Close. I love that these are online much more easily for sure. And set up for me here. Yeah, so you're imagining that you're almost getting, ball first, pivot here.
Gotcha.
If you've hit almost all of them perfect. So if you blade one, no problem, okay? So let's just get down this way a little bit more in a second, try to get this grass out here.
Okay.
Yep, that's the clip. Really good. So we'll go to like 75 yards, maybe on 2. Yeah, the bunker cover is like 65. So into this wind, 75 gets just over that.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we're talking. So when that happens, let's pretend like fate of the universe is in our hands to pure this last ball.
Okay.
So this is 2 out of 6. What would you be thinking to adjust that to start out?
My thought is to try and release more.
Release more.
To get the club face more square.
Okay. So can I steal for a second? When you're hitting it here, it's going to the right not because the face is open, but because of like how that's shaped.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to try to release it as much with the hands for sure. One of the things we are going to do is release our body a little bit more.
Okay.
One of the natural things that people start to do as they hit the heel is, whether they're thinking I got to stay down on it or keep my eye on it, and everything kind of gets stuck right here, and that's just going to bring the club closer to the ball.
Yeah.
Where like I never have a little kid that hits it off the heel because they're like, they're moving this way, and everything's going through and like that.
Yeah.
And so, but then as we get older and we start kind of doing this a little bit more, that does start to come into play a little bit.
Okay.
So we will actually use some of the running background here, right? We want to feel our feet, our knees. We want to be moving up and through it and I'm going to show you the finish I want you to be in.
Okay.
Because even on that practice swing, like you're kind of like in here a little bit, which has too much of that tilt in it again. We need to replace that with some kind of rotation and bend this way, and then kind of finishing up in here instead of like down in there. Good, just a little bit behind it.
Yeah.
Show me how far you would take it back for this. Yeah, so I just want, just like the chipping, let's just give ourselves a little bit more.
Okay.
If you can get to there for me, that strike's gonna be a lot easier.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And then from there, you start feeling your lower body and just get to that nice soft finish. Really good movement. Do you see that, Grant? I mean, that was just like such a good move. It's all right. This is good. Because I'd hate for you to hit them all good and then leave here and then it comes back. Okay. All right, so go ahead and set up for me. Set up to the ball. And you'll make like a full normal practice swing, but you're just gonna start your divot right here. So still address here and then make your swing, but try to strike the ground there, okay? Good, let's get those arms nice and soft in the finish. Good. Good. So physically, you know that you have no issue having that club enter a little bit inside.
Yeah.
Right? So if we quantify that and say that's 10 out of 10, is missing the ball fully inside. When you're on ball, you probably want to still go like 7 or 8 out of 10,
Okay.
To start. And on any given day of practice or play, you'd probably start there. And then if you start hitting the toe, you can ease off of it.
Okay.
But for right now, that would be where you'd start. Does that
Okay.
make sense? I think you pushed. I just don't think it was soon enough and aggressive enough.
Okay.
So good. That was probably that was my favorite one so far for sure, as far as the thump and the strike on it. So you think you could get 3 in a row like that?
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. So it starts from the ground up, and from the ground all the way up to your right shoulder and your chin, everything's got to get moving that way. Oh yeah, that's a wedge strike. That's really good. Oh, that's okay. It's not on the heel.
Yeah.
Not on the heel. It's okay. I'm good with that. We're gonna hit one more good one here and then go to another spot.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Really good. Yep, got our number 2. And let's get one more like that. It's all right. It's all right. So you find it here, and that's that. So like if we push up too much too early, it would be the like top.
Mm-hmm.
If we kind of get stuck down here, that's when it's going to get back to the heel. But you've had a handful already that have been really good, kind of where we want them. Good. Move that way and trust yourself. It's all right. This is good. This is where we want to be.
Yeah.
This is where we want to be. Take it back down. So when we do these rehearsals here, make a couple practice swings, as you move up and through it, have the hands just kind of chase around there, okay? Chase, and then you can go up.
Okay.
Really nice, really nice. So what the challenge is going to be, I think how I want to end it is, can we get perfect chip, perfect pitch, perfect wedge, 3 shots in a row, okay?
Okay.
All right. This first try here, I'm going to let you do it totally on your own.
Okay.
And try to access what thoughts you feel like you need for each one. Probably a little open face for this one, and we'll do the second one from here as a little chip.
Okay.
And then we'll do the wedge from the fringe over to that flag.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, wow. Nice. Really good. Perfect strike. So we'll go up. Oh, is your 52 up here?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Carried it a little too far.
A little bit. Second round, we'll make that adjustment. Okay, let's still go ahead and go. Oh, yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
That was pure. That was good. Yeah, that was super. Let's, yeah, that first one, and you could see in the rehearsals on the chip that the acceleration was just a little bit too much. Yeah, but like you're learning, like for guys like me or Grant that have like played forever, like since we're a little kid, like every time we're out there, we're calibrating like how much speed you need into it. Where when somebody's picked it up a little bit later, your brain's going into kind of like one mode of acceleration. And so like the more that you practice, and once the strike is there, it gets easier to practice, because if you're not striking, it's just like, I don't know what's gonna happen, you know? But once that strike gets more consistent, then you can start, you know, kind of adjusting, no different than you would if we were playing, you know, catch underhanded, which like everybody can do. You know what I mean? Chip from here. Let's do it this way, because then we're all in one spot. So good.
Wow.
Nice, nice. Really good clip there. Oh, come on. Job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is fun.
So starting at the beginning with like setup and our fundamentals, aimed a little bit too far right and having to kind of release the club and kind of stay back on that right side a little bit too much. So we got the feet just a little wider, body a little bit more open, took out some of the rigidity in the arms just so like each part could just move a little bit better. So a little bit more hinge on the way back and hanging on to that a little bit more on the way through. You had a lot of acceleration down at the bottom, which would send the club that way, which just isn't something that we can control as much or as often. So loaded the club up a little bit more, little steadier release on the way through. So not deceleration, but accelerating less.
Yeah.
Right. And so then we took that out into the pitch shot, which really didn't change very much, other than we just got to let the, you know, arms get away from the body a little bit more. And then as we got into the wedge feel there, we started from the ground up, making sure that from a ground force standpoint, we're pushing, you know, kind of at the right time and pushing up and through kind of left of the target, and then continuing to get up to a finish that's not too rigid this way, because the more rigid we get, the more that's going to kind of wind up down at the ball in a way that's going to introduce that hosel, where if I'm moving this way, everything is chasing that left side opening up. It's going to be a lot easier to get that strike on it, just like you did there.
Yeah.
But once you get into a flow, then you just challenge yourself. Okay, I'll hit a little chip, a little pitch, a little wedge, keep going through, because every time your brain has to jump between those, it's sort of kind of solidifies the movements more, and then you stack that, and then it'll feel like you don't even really have to think about it. But yeah, no, I thought you did great, and I think you have a lot of reason to like trust your body. Like once we kind of opened it up and got it in the right positions. So as you go on from here, you know, obviously practice is huge, but once you start practicing it, like really just kind of give yourself the rehearsals and then trust it, because the more you trust it, the more your body's gonna just move and flow through the shot, and that's gonna give us the best chance, especially with short game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the help.
Yeah, it was super. Good work. You got a kid coming?
Yep.
They're gonna be like, man, my dad's such a good wedge player. Like, he's so dialed.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot. I know I definitely did. It was almost like an emotional experience. You know, you see a guy struggling and just see the improvement. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So that's what we're here. We're here for it. The golfing gap, we closed that gap.
Gap got smaller today.
The gap got smaller today. Cooper's feeling encouraged, ready to go and practice. And so yeah, that's a video for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap.